The following program is paid for by ChannelMom Media.
The show made for moms and families. It's Channel Mom.
My name is Jenny, and I'm a mom, but I once lived a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I left TV to become a full-time mother, I quickly found out what we moms are up against. Our world glorifies the rich and famous. For what? I say let's honor the moms who are raising this world's next generation.
It's Channel Mom Radio with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Yes, we are. I hope you're doing well today. So glad you've joined us. I hope you've joined us for a reason today, and that what we're going to talk about can be a huge benefit to your life. Hey, are you struggling in a relationship? Do you have a difficult marriage, or maybe you've gone through a difficult divorce, or maybe you're widowed and you're hoping to have another relationship? I don't know what it is, and maybe you're just having a difficult relationship with your child, and today can help that as well. But we're going to ask you to take a bit of a dare. And this isn't like scary truth or consequences dare kinds of things. It's reasonable, but it really is what I call a dare of love. And we're going to challenge you to take it for the sake of your relationship. And I hope that it will end up being a blessing to you. I do want to welcome our Facebook Live audience and of course our 94.7 The Word radio audience. I'm so grateful that you listen, and, every day, I am always very hopeful that we can be a huge blessing to you, and that we can encourage you in your mothering. I know there's a lot of media out there, and most of it's depressing right now. Most of it's very difficult, very tough. The kind of stuff that makes you cry and feel bad about the world. And so that is why we're here, to encourage you in your mothering and your parenting. A lot of dads listen to us too, and how important the raising of your children is in your family and in your marriage, all of it. And if you're single, we want to encourage you there too. This show is not just for one type of mother or family. We want to be here for all of you, to help and encourage you. So I'm going to bring on today's guest in just a minute. I do want to tell you that she's going to provide us with a couple of copies of her book to give away. And I think that after you hear some of the things she's going to tell you about her book and the dare that she's putting forward there, that it's going to be helpful to you. It's called the Respect Dare. 40 days, just a little bit more than a month, to a deeper connection with God and your husband. Now, I always like to welcome the folks that aren't quite there with God yet. Of course, we're on Christian radio, and I espouse my love for God and for Jesus, but we always want to welcome the mom that's not quite there, but would still like some support and encouragement and help as a mother. And I know that Nina Roesner is going to be able to help you do that. So let me just tell you a bit about Nina. She's actually the executive director, and I'm trying to find my script here, sorry, the executive director of Greater Impact Ministries, which is a Christian training organization. But more importantly, the reason that we're having her on today is, as I said, she's the author of The Respect Dare, and believes that she's gone through this in a way, kind of like testing the product before it goes to market, and says that this works. I have brought a little picture of Nina for our Facebook Live audience. I tried to make it an 8x10, but it ended up much smaller than that. So there's Nina for our Facebook Live audience, the radio audience. Apologies to you. You just have to imagine her. Lovely mom of 3. Welcome to Channel Mom, Nina.
Hey, it's great to be here, Jenny.
I'm going to start with a song. I just wanted you to join me for this. There's been a lot going on in America, and I think a lot of moms and dads have struggled with, how do we face this world? How do we tell our children about this world? How do we process this as a nation and as a family? How do I parent my children through all the crises we've been in recently, all the division in our country, all the hateful politics and all of it? And the Las Vegas shooting massacre really only served to make that worse. And I've been a sad mom this week, and I just sort of been worried about the world for my kids and processing this with my kids who are both teenagers. And I found a song that I thought was a helpful song to parents who are struggling with this as parents, struggling with all the tragedy, all the hurricanes, all the earthquakes, just the problems we've been having. I really like this song by Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors.
Laughter is the only thing that'll keep you sane. And this world is crying more and more every day. Don't let evil get you down in this madness spinning round and round. I want you
a sentiment there from a dad, I think, written for his children, and I felt so much that way. That song just hit me this week. It's not a brand new song, and I thought, man, this is prophetic. These words, and of course, we all want our kids to live forever, and we don't want them to go through things like this. And it's one reason that we trust God for heaven. So, with that, Nina, what'd you think of the song?
Oh, I loved it. And, you're absolutely right in that there's so much. And if we're paying attention, watching what's going on, it's all in the Bible.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I know. But it is overwhelming, just the same. It's overwhelming.
It is.
So we're going to focus on something a little bit happier, which I think is the hope of a long and happy relationship or marriage. And you're very real about it. You talk in a number of ways in your book, and you say that people think that maybe marriage depends on a constant stream of romantic emotion, or even on many or copious amounts of time or money, and it's all going to be just fine. And I think for so many people, the romance and the hope and the dream is dashed, and they're just kind of crawling along and hoping that they can save their marriage, and they need help from somebody like you. And it's work, and you admit that in this book, but it's 40 days. I mean, literally, it's like a handbook. You can pick this up and say, all right, I'm going to try for 40 days to follow what Nina is saying and see if I can make it work. So Nina, I'm going to read a little bit from just a couple of the excerpts that you wrote, and then we're going to take off with some of the 40 days of dares that you give to people. Okay? Mm-hmm. You say this: to honor God, surely I was not meant to give up the hopes and dreams I had and live out life as a diminished person. Much of the advice, and you're talking about biblical advice, dealt with not correcting one's husband or not disagreeing with him. When I applied this advice, it frustrated both of us. I found no formula for a happy marriage. And I don't think you said that about the Bible, but you were just saying all the things you were reading were saying they were ending in that place. And then you said, I still clearly remember those days of being frustrated, angry, disappointed, and feeling alone and taken for granted. I can remember having fear toward my husband's decisions, or lack of trying to make the right things happen on my time schedule instead of waiting to see what God had in mind. And I think so many women, millions and millions of women, are in that place where they're angry and they're frustrated and they feel unappreciated and they feel overwhelmed and they don't know how to meet their husbands in the place of reconciliation or hope or unity. And this book deals with that. Now, I do want to let people know she's given away a couple copies. So 303-873-1935, 303-873-1935 to get a copy of Nina's book today. Compliments of her and Channel Mom. Okay, so let's just go to some of the dares. I've been reading through them. Is that her static or mine? Is that your static, Nina?
I don't know.
Huh.
I'm on a landline, so
you're on a landline. That's funny.
I know, I'm that archaic.
Yeah, no, I have a landline and I love them. Okay, well, we may have to ask you to switch to a cell if it continues because it's really strangely staticky. But let's just go to the first dare in the book. Or how about this? Your favorite. What's your favorite one?
Oh, boy. I think I like the one where we talk about the dusty chandeliers. I think that's 16.
Okay, so Nina, he's gonna call you on your cell phone because you're so staticky. Strangely enough, the landline's usually the good thing. Is your cell phone nearby?
Yeah, it is.
So we can do that? Okay. All right. So he's going to call her back. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell you about some of the dares that I found interesting. One of them was introspection childhood. That was dare number 2. And it was to say to go back to your childhood and to think upon your husband's childhood. And if it's a man listening today, think about your wife's childhood and to give some grace to yourself and to your spouse for what they may be carrying into the marriage from their own pain from their childhoods. And here's Nina. I was talking about the introspection childhood one. Nina, do you want to expand on that?
Oh, that's one of the most important ones in the book, actually.
Okay.
There's so much that comes into marriage, the baggage, if you will, from our childhood. The things we saw our mom and dad do, things we saw them didn't see them do. We emerge into marriage thinking, okay, I'm going to be good at this, and I'm not going to do these things, and then we don't know how to do conflict.
Yeah.
We don't know what to. Yeah, I know, right? So we're stuck in this problem. We're like, I don't know how to talk about this. So we do what we did, and we're surprised when it doesn't work out because that is not modeled for us well. It is in the Bible in multiple places, and the advice is all there. But how to interact with that is a huge deal, and it all stems from what did we believe when we were a kid about marriage, and how did those things impact us, and how does that play out in the day-to-day now?
Yeah, and we have to give each other grace, ourselves grace from our wrong interpretations or our wrong expectations. You do talk a lot about expectations. I want to go to fighting fair after you talk about expectations, because fighting fair has to do with the wrong expectations we had of marriage. But you talk a lot about expectations and how, I think maybe even women in particular. I've read statistics about when there's a divorce, more often than not, the woman wants it more than the man, or the man is blindsided, and that's statistical. That the woman asks for it more, and the man didn't see it coming more. That is true, and so I think women have this, and I'm not belittling or disparaging women, but I think women come into this thing with this Hollywood romantic ideal, and to say it's always going to be roses and cupcakes, and he's always going to think I'm the sexiest woman on the planet, and we're always going to talk every night, and we're going to have fabulous children, and so we have these wrong and we expect him to be kind of perfect. So talk about wrong expectations.
Well, I thought my husband was supposed to behave like James Dobson, right?
Oh, okay.
So I know, right? So even in the church, I had this perception when he didn't, because he's not. I was really disappointed, and what I didn't realize is that I was totally focused in the wrong direction. Need to be focused on myself. And I wasn't giving myself grace for the mistakes that I made. I wasn't being a good friend of myself. So I couldn't extend that to somebody else. And there's been a lot of research on how compassion works. And if we are not self-compassionate, we cannot do that with other people. We think that's being selfish, but it really isn't.
And we think it's being self-centered,
Yeah, and it's not. It can get that way. But if we're focused on getting what we want, then we're looking at the other person as someone who needs to fulfill our needs, when really it's only God that can do that. And we need to be looking at, what does the Lord have for me in this now? Here's my situation. Father, what do you want me to learn? What do you want me to do? How do I love through this? And that's the big question we always need to come back to, is how do I love through this? What do you want me to do, God?
Yeah. We only have about 2 minutes left in this segment, and so I want you to answer this next question quickly, but I promise, folks, we're going to have a lot more time in the next segment for her to go through some of these dares to give you some help. Just briefly, what about the fighting fair thing? How do you walk into a fight and do it fairly?
You don't. You have to.
Right.
Sorry,
right.
That's a trick answer. But, the truth is that there is no fairness. And if you look at what is the goal is whatever God wants. So if I'm walking into that to win, I'm going to lose, because my marriage is going to lose. So the fight shouldn't even be a fight. It should be one of those things where we go, okay, I'm upset. Why am I upset? And you're upset. Why are you upset? Let's delve into this. And then on top of that, let's pray together and figure out what God wants us to do in the now that we're in.
Yeah, and I want to acknowledge that not all couples pray together, and I have great sympathy for that. So maybe you're, one of the two of you is going to go have to pray, but I appreciate that. There is no fighting fair. We're going to have to learn some hard stuff about sacrifice and putting ourselves second and all kinds of stuff, and we're going to get into that more as we continue. You can win this book, The Respect Dare, and go through 40 days to help your relationship. 303-873-1935. Don't be shy. You can win a wonderful book. 303-873-1935. Okay, very briefly, I just want to tell you, I'm somebody who had to give up coffee. Because look at me, I'm naturally caffeinated and I just couldn't do it, and I wasn't making me feel good and everything else. You do not have to give up coffee to drink this, but this is ground cocoa beans, and it comes in all kinds of flavors. It's called Creole Brew, so it smells and tastes like dark chocolate and has all the benefits, antioxidants and so on. It also gives you a little boost because it has theobromine in it, which isn't kind of as harsh as caffeine, but it gives you a little bit of a boost. I drink this. I've been drinking it for 5 years. They are now sponsoring our show because they know I love it and that other moms will love it too. So CreoleBrew.com. Go check them out if you want an alternative to coffee or something to mix with your coffee. I really think you'll like it.
CEO of my household. I don't have have a degree, but the organization I run is more complex than most companies. Party planner, chef, teacher, nurse, these are just some of the roles I fill every single day. It's time for me to get paid to do what I love to do. I'm going to study at Colorado Christian University and apply what I've learned running my household into a degree that will give me a career. Check out CCU's website at adulted.ccu.edu or call 303-963-3300 and get started down the same amazing path I'm taking today.
The vision of the Life Center is simple: transforming communities, period. Located just south of downtown Littleton, the Life Center meets immediate needs, provides opportunities for development, and shares the hope and truth found only in Jesus. Whether you need help putting food on the table, or reaching your goals by learning English, or finishing your GED, find out more about our services and volunteer opportunities on our website, lifecenterlittleton.org.
It's Channel Mom Radio with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
Hey, welcome back to Channel Mom. I did mean to tell you, you can find Creole Brew in your local Sprouts or Whole Foods store. I also found it in Vitamin Cottage as well. I'm going to welcome Nina Roesner. I think it's Roesner. Is that right, Lena?
Yes.
Nina, I'm going to welcome you back in just a second. I just need to do 2 little orders of business, and then you and I will have the rest of the show together. We do have a caller, the winner of your book. We want to congratulate Lisa from Castle Rock for winning the book. We've got one left, so if you want to call 303-873-1935, you can do that. I just want to say a bit to inform you about our sponsors. I just want you to know that Colorado Christian University and their School of Graduate and Adult Studies is so catered to the mom. It's amazing. They will give you credit for life experience. And I'm not kidding. If you've been party planning, if you've been cooking for the whole neighborhood, whatever it is, they will give you 3 credits if you can suggest and you can show them that that is worth credit. And they do it. They do it regularly. So know that. And they also make allowances for a mom's schedule. Only 1 class for 5 weeks. And then you start in the next class. It's really wonderful. 303-963-3027. I hope you'll call them. And then one other thing. I love these folks. They're the Life Center Littleton. And the vision of the Life Center is simple: transforming communities. They believe that this kind of transformation happens one life at a time, and they do all kinds of things to make that happen. They're serving the underserved. They are serving hundreds of individuals and families each week. They're offering English and Spanish. I'm tempted to go down there and relearn Spanish because I forgot it all from high school. They offer GED classes if you need an affordable way to get all that. All of this stuff, by the way, is free. Last time I talked to them, they offer shelter from the cold and legal assistance for those who don't know where to find help. They're located just south of downtown Littleton. Check them out at lifecenterlittleton.org. lifecenterlittleton.org. Okay, now back to Nina. She is the author of The Respect Dare, 40 Days to a Deeper Connection with God and Your Husband, and she's kindly giving away the book today, 873-1935. I'd love for you to call. We've got one caller who won, Lisa, and I'd love for you to win as well. So Nina, we're gonna go through a couple more. We only got about 7 or 8 minutes to do that, but I want folks to get some of this meat and maybe be tempted to go out and get the book themselves so they can bless their marriage. I just want you and I to get real for a minute. Mm-hmm. I know that there are all kinds of moms who woke up at least one of the mornings in the last couple of weeks and thought, I don't know how to keep doing this. Or a particular evening after dinner, they thought, this isn't working. This isn't what I wanted it to be. He's unhappy. I'm unhappy. Whatever it is. We're not parenting the way that I wanted to be parenting. We're in a really hard time. Maybe there's a job loss. Maybe there's an illness. Whatever it is. And I think so many people are afraid to talk about it, but they're also quick to give up because of our stupid culture that says there's always something greener on the other side, and that marriage really isn't sacred anymore. And they don't point to the statistics that suggest it is healthier for you and your spouse and your kids if you can stay together, unless you're in physical harm. And that it's cool to husband bash. And it's best to fight for yourself and not sacrifice and not take second, fiddle, not take back seats. I mean, our culture is constantly screaming against the kinds of things you're teaching in your book about, right? So talk about one or two. I'm trying to get my little thing to stay up. I'm not going to do that anymore. I've got a little emblem on my mic for the Facebook Live folks, and it keeps falling off, so I just took it off. So tell me, Nina, a couple of the chapters in your book deal with this directly. The stuff that's counterintuitive for women in this culture when it comes to husband bashing is a thing. Women get together and have a glass of wine and husband bash. fending for yourself and saying, hey, I deserve this kind of treatment is the thing. And being sacrificial and saying, well, you know what? I'm just going to sit next to my husband while he's watching a game because that would mean something to him, even if it seems stupid to me. We aren't taught to sacrifice like that. So you just go off on some of the things that you think are most important that are counterculture.
Well, cell phones, for example, are creating short attention span theater in the families, which means that, there's research now saying the more you're on social media, the less deeply you're going to think, the less persistent you're going to be. So we've got a lack of tenacity and a lack of ability to focus as a result of our devices. And we're becoming addicted because of dopamine. Yeah. So instead of getting that met through working through our issues in our home, we're filling those needs outside of the home with all sorts of things. And when we're talking in terms of, being countercultural, whatever you pay attention to is going to grow. So if you're going to pay attention to the faults and be, spewing that stuff out all over the place with your friends, they're going to reinforce that because they like you, right? Well, that's not helpful. It just reinforces the attitude. And then you forget, oh, yeah, I did the same thing to him yesterday. And we start thinking we're all that.
Right.
And we're not. And I think it all comes down to who is our God.
Right.
Are we going to worship the world, or are we going to worship Jesus Christ? Are we going to choose to follow what he's asked us to do? And he did not say, come party on my yacht with me. He said, pick up your cross and follow me. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that this stuff is hard. What works in marriage takes a huge humbling step. Good example of that is just, if your husband's wanting to do something and you think it's the dumbest thing ever, like say he expects your teenagers to come greet him when he shows up after work, and you're like, oh my word, they're 16, 17 years old. And yeah, that was fun when they were 5, but really? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Yeah, you say that to him, you're going to shame him. And really what's underneath all of that is he misses them being young. A wise woman will be able to have a conversation where she jumps into his space, sees things the way he does, and then talks with him about it, and then they can connect over something like that. It
is, and the respect dare. It's called the respect dare for a reason, and it's the theory's been out there for a while because the Bible says it that women are to respect their husbands and men are to love their wives. Now, some folks get very offended by that and say women deserve respect too, and all that, and my man doesn't deserve respect. But that's the point: is that you give it anyway. You say, I'm going to respect you because you need it, and it's going to cause you to rise up to the level of respect I'm giving you. I've watched that happen personally. Yep. So it really does. So we only have a couple minutes left, but I want you just to pick out one or two more dares that have to do with sacrificially respecting your husband in a way that will change your relationship. And by the way, you say it's hard, Nina, you do, but it's worth it hard. It's worth it hard. You know what I mean? It's not hard and then there's no payoff. It's hard and it's worth it.
Yep. Exactly. There's a dare in the book about a mom not wanting her son to go to camp. She thinks he's too young. He's 11 or something. And the husband is like, yeah, he needs to go. He needs to go. And she just is afraid. She doesn't want him to go. She's adamant about this. And she prays about it, and she feels like God's leading through her husband, and this kid's supposed to go do this. And so he goes, and the kid leads the kid to Christ at camp. Mm-hmm. Now, we can get in the way.
So life-changing. Life-changing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can get in the way by focusing on what we want versus focusing on what God wants. And so the most important thing, the book is 40 Days to a Deeper Connection with God and your husband, because that's what happens. We use a training method in our classes that's in the book, and it helps women deeply connect with God first, because he's the ultimate authority. Mm-hmm. And if two people in marriage don't agree, somebody's not listening.
Yeah.
So, and I'm talking about listening to God. And so when she went in and listened to God, she was like, okay, I'm going to trust you, Lord. Notice she's not talking about trusting her husband. She's talking about trusting God.
Yeah.
With whatever outcome that is, because life is going to be hard. And those hard lessons are where kids learn, where we learn. And we have to be able to hold all of it open-handed. Otherwise, we're saying that we're God. And then we're judging our husband as unworthy of respect, unworthy of love. And last time I checked, there was one Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm not him.
Right. Well, and so this is all, it comes back to a kind of humility that makes us willing to respect. And we only have 1 minute, so I want you to tell folks how to get a hold of this. But I do want to acknowledge, I know there's some deeply painful relationships out there that you just can't figure out a way out of. There's an addiction involved or there's violence involved. And we're not suggesting that if you just sit down and read a book, everything's going to get better. But I guarantee you at least 80-90% of the relationships out there will benefit from the principles that Nina describes in this book. How can they find you and how can they find the book?
I blog at greaterimpact.org, and you can find the book. Well, we've got a free connections class on there, by the way, if people want to start connecting more deeply. And they can find the book at any major retailer, online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever.
Beautiful. And you're also online at the Respect Dare. I found you. So very cool. Hey, look, I wish we had more time to talk about it because it's great information, but thanks for being on Channel Mom, Nina.
Thanks for having me, Jenny.
Okay, take care. Hey, God bless you. Thank you for all you do as a mom, even when people don't notice and don't thank you. I thank you. You're raising the next generation. God bless you.
If you enjoy what you hear on Channel Mom Radio, and if you believe the media should be doing more to support moms and encourage families, then why don't you come alongside the efforts of Channel Mom? We'd like to offer you our partner package today. We'll send you a Channel Mom's Best Tips for Moms, as well as a beautiful bling t-shirt when you sign up to be a partnering monthly donor at ChannelMom.com. We live in a world that demeans the importance of moms and belittles the value of family. Research shows the family is breaking down in America. But Channel Mom aims to stop the family breakdown, starting with the moms. We depend on our donors to help us, to put this show on the air, and to do outreach for mothers on the ground, supporting them in their parenting, marriages, addiction issues, and more. So become a Channel Mom partner today and be a part of the change you want to see for mothers and families. Just go to ChannelMom.com and click on Give to CM, and you'll see our donate button there. From the moms at Channel Mom, thank you.